Life of a day trader, hey? Thursday, September 26th. Let's get into it. Today was an interesting day. Now, I'm a huge advocate of feeling the market out, especially when we have these big gap ups. You know, it's very easy to take a look after the fact and say, oh, well, it gapped up. It's obviously going to sell off. That's a really silly way to day trade. It's a silly mentality to have. It's about feeling that market out to look for price action signals that is basically going to determine what direction we are going to go. The next thing I kind of want to point out before we get into the trade recap is just how well these technicals work. We get a response now, whether it wants to hold or rejects and bumps its head, failing support, retesting as resistance, or coming into support, or coming into support, coming back up into resistance. It's an absolutely beautiful day to really take a look at how technical analysis 101 truly works on these charts. If you go take a look, today's a great study day. And let's get into these trades. So I think, first of all, let me think here. Yeah, you know what? Let's go over this long on SPY first. I'm going to zoom in on these entries so then you guys can actually really take a look because there's a lot going on here. So to zoom in on these entries a little bit here, I'm going to zoom in on the chart as well. So market opens up, dips into this level, this 573.95, and that is a trend area that we were looking at, and dips right into it. I told members only take it with small size until we see what's going on. If it wants to fail it, wait for the retest to go short, which we did, and we'll cover that here in a minute. But as it comes in, it's still an acceptable, tolerable amount of risk. So I will continue to work that trade as per strategy. So start into this 573.95 level. As it washes through, I'm going to add in on those washes, taking advantage of that premium, which I did. Wait for it to come down. Add that last time as it's starting to round up. Buy volume starting to come in, as well as the relationship between distance and retracement. It's going to happen, and it will retest this level, which is what it did. So took advantage of that. Then as it comes back down to retest this support, right at the scariest moment of that trade, I enter again because I know I should be able to get it to come back at least to even a little bit of a bounce to retest. Okay. And that's what it did. So go long here, pay myself here, and then work that trade a little bit. Now, this is the killer part, and this is where I made the bulk of my money on this trade. Okay, so as we are coming into numbers, they are consolidating it coming into those 10 a.m. numbers. Now, when they do that, you're generally going to get a pop and then a sell-off. So I know right before those numbers hit, because I saw it break that support and get scooped back up. As soon as it does that, that's my entry right before 10 a.m. So it dips down, it pops back up, gives me that little pullback on that little red candle. That's my entry. Pay myself on that push. Premium exploded on that, and absolutely beautiful sells. And then obviously I'm going to hold a little bit. I could have held to here, added, and paid myself on that push back up into natural. Now, natural movement theory is proprietary to Tricktrades. It's something that I discuss in great detail. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's within the walls of Tricktrades. I explain that, but I could have, but instead just stopped out. Already made more than enough money on the morning, locking in $7,450 on that trade. Let's go over the secondary trade. So this is the short, and this is that short here. So anytime we fail support, it will wash through. If we get that proper wash, that extension, that distance away, right? And we have not retraced it all, it will retrace into that former support area, now testing resistance, and it will bump its head. That's what I talk about when I say a head bump. So it comes up to test, it bumps its head, enter into that trade, a single entry, pay myself nice extra $1,220 on that trade. And then last trade here on Qs, working it multiple times. Hang tight. So P&L is not huge on this trade, but I love the way I work this. Now, if you really take a look at these entries, very patient on those entries and payments. It's bottoms to tops, bottoms to tops. There's no hesitation in these entries. That's what you want to see. Okay. There's a lot that you can tell by a trader with their entries. Are they emotional entries? Are they greedy entries or profit taking? And when you take a look, that is a bona fide way. If you can study entries and you know what's going on with entries on an entries chart, you can really tell who's legit and who isn't. Okay, so that's just a little bonus for you guys. If you ever want to know if a trader is legit or not, and he's trying to sell you something, study his entries. Not just one entry chart, I mean all of his entries charts. Are they always under control? Do they pay themselves where they should pay themselves? Now, obviously, you would need a little bit of education and you would need to properly know to make that assessment, but just a little heads up on that. So again, only locked in $725 on this trade, working it multiple times, but this is my favorite chart from today. Just the way I work that chart. Very patient with my entries and my pays and my profit taking. Very happy with that. So if you want to learn how to truly become consistent and profitable, there is a 92, and this can be backed up, a 92% success rate for members that participate in our Size Up program, which is our sizing strategy program, which is included with membership. It's not like an add-on or anything like that. It's included. And if you follow that, 92% of all members who participate are not only consistent, but they are profitable and they are growing their accounts. I know that is a bold statement, but it is 100% fact. Okay, folks, come join us at tricktrades.com. Adios.